Good morning, Sonder family. Happy Monday. Happy March. It's so great to welcome you this morning. My name is Jennifer Ogilvy. I'll be your on-camera facilitator, and we will be setting up for a brand new month and a brand new week. It's so good to see you joining me this morning all the way across the pond in Scotland is the fabulous Katie Gideon. Katie and I have gotten the opportunity to like hang out all weekend together. So we've been supporting each other. She was on camera last night and I got to be her sidekick. So we have really enjoyed hanging out with the Sonder family this weekend. Just a quick little housekeeping reminder, set your Zoom chat to everyone if it's not already set that way, because that is how we will communicate with each other. Cameras are off, your mics are off, you take what you need here. I hope you're sitting with a nice little beverage and, that you're just ready to tackle this brand new week. It's really, really exciting. I love this quote. You think winter will never end, and then when you don't expect it, when you have almost forgotten it, warmth comes in a different light. We are welcoming in a new season this month. Wintering is over. Our life will maybe get a little more pep in our step because of the springtime. So anyway, we are really glad to be with you this morning. There are those community guidelines that remind us about taking care of ourselves, but also about taking what you need at these events. We want you to be kind and courteous to yourself and others. Of course, the no promotions or spam, no hate speech. We do respect privacy. We always say what happens in Sonder Club stays in Sonder Club. And then, of course, any customer care inquiries that you have, if you'll just reach out to hello@silkensonder.com and they will be able to guide you, answer questions. Katie and I do not have your account information, but we can definitely support you as you try to figure out where to go with your questions. And then I didn't ask, is there anybody joining us on a Monday morning for the very first time? Maybe this is your first Monday morning social, or maybe this is your first social altogether. Please drop a me in the chat so that we can welcome you. And I just saw Catherine's giving us a good morning from Austin, so a little Texas neighbor there. So maybe we're just a group of repeats. So you know the rhythm and routine. Oh, nope, Heather's saying me. Heather, welcome. We're so glad that you're joining us today. Be sure to set that chat to everyone so that if you do share any more, we'll all be able to see that message. So okay, Maggie, we're gonna send you some good juju for that for your husband's job this week. Um, a quick shout out to that personalized coaching app. It's kind of one of those things that, I'm seeing a lot of folks like, okay, I went ahead and jumped in and I love it. So this was Claire, who is a member of the Sonder family, and she posted this in our Sonder Club app. And I just wanted to, share, let you see her words as well as when I speak to when any of the facilitators speak to it. So, if you are not sure, you're on the fence about that personalized coach, reach out to concierge@silkensonder.com. Katie's dropped a couple of links there so you can get some more information. I believe Thursday they have another little intro power session. It's like 30 minutes long on a Zoom call. And right now, 50% off with the code early bird VIP. And so, if you have some cost questions or concern, please reach out to HQ at that concierge at silkensonder.com and see if they can work with you to come up with a plan that will work for you, because this is really a neat thing. You can access Jenny, who is our AI driven life coach, at any time of the day. And because of the very deep, lengthy intake process, Your responses from her, your challenges from her are very much catered to your life. Anyway, oh, thank you, Alice. I finally got a haircut. My gal doesn't work full time anymore because she became a mom, and I couldn't align my calendar. I've been wanting to get a haircut for like 3 months with her. So that was Saturday. Thank you for noticing. My husband doesn't notice unless I say, I'm getting a haircut. So that's always fun. Um, Anyhow, vitality, our brand new theme. I shared at my monthly setups that I did about how excited I am about this theme because vitality, well, it's not a word of the year for me. It is something I think because I'm of a certain age now, like I'm always thinking about how something will affect my vitality. I want to stay vital. I want to be vital until my last breath. And it seems like it's a little more important to me than like I'm really thinking about it now. Um, but I love this quote. And I actually am reading a memoir and listening to it while I'm gardening. And I found it. Let me see if I can find, because when you say a book that you're reading, it's called The Friday Afternoon Club, and it's by Griffin Dunn, and it's all about Hollywood and stuff back in the 80s. And Griffin Dunn, turns out, was Carrie Fisher's best friend. And like he talks about when she got the role in this weird movie, space movie called Star Wars, and how it changed her life. Anyway, it's got some language, but it's a very good book. But anyway, I was reading Griffin Dunn's Friday Afternoon Club, and he reference this quote that I was like, that's the quote I put on my slide for vitality. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And I just love that quote. And then when I heard it in my book, I was doing dishes last night and had my book going. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's my quote of the week." So I love the idea of thinking about vitality in kind of two lenses, like the rest and restoration. Mayha writes a little bit to this in her welcome letter in our journal. Like there is for me, my first initial thoughts about vitality is like, go, very life, very full, very fast and busy. And yet there is vitality in that slowness. And I found this great slide, this ASAP, kind of reframing it, right? And taking those words that maybe really speak to you, like as steady as possible, or allow space and pause. So if you see an ASAP that speaks to you, maybe write one of those down on your Monday morning. Yeah, as soft as possible, and kind of frame out your week with that reminder of restoration is also important for our vitality. And I'm going to keep these two in. So any more of the setups I do, you'll see these again. But then conversely, we have those things in our life that give us that energy and that vitality. And it's just, there's kind of a little word cloud there of the things that all come together. It's not just one piece, right? It's all these different areas. So, this is a great way to restore and recharge your energy levels. And I neglected to say, as we're, bebopping along this morning, if you see something on the screen that speaks to you, grab a screenshot. Or I always say, sit with your phone. I sit with my phone. And Katie actually had a really cute slide the other night in her presentation, and I just took a picture of it so I would be reminded to throw it into my setup. It was that 5 days of every month that you need, Katie. So I literally put that on my phone. All righty. So thinking about vitality, we have a brand new mind map. If you are here for the first time, we do a deeper dig at the weekly setups into our theme. And this is a bonus prompt. It's not in your journal. Last night, somebody said, I wish it were printed in our journal, but I'll tell you something kind of magical about this is that we actually, as facilitators, meet and brainstorm about what our mind map will look like. So we all get to kind of, have a little buy-in and discussion about which directions we'd like to go with that. So that's why it's kind of unique. These are printed way ahead of time, but the mind map is that bonus prompt. So we're going to do that. You will need 4 spaces this month. We'll do our Rosebud Thorn reflection, and we will have our weekly setup pages filled with examples from Sonder family. So y'all know I went cuckoo with my heart cookie cutter last month for my mind map. And I was like, it's gold. I'm going to start doing cookie cutters. I always do, like I was in the past, mostly doing circles because I just like the shape. I don't know. There's something about that. I thought, let me change it up. So I did my cookie cutter. I traced around it. Well, this month, I'm even crazier. I got my flower cookie cutter because my shamrock was a little bit small. And I actually dipped it in a little bit of paint and just went boop, 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 like a stamp. So, yes, it's such a fun way. And y'all know, I'm going to show you my pages for my weekly setup. I am a black pen person, but I like digging into a little creativity through my mind map. So you can do this on a blank page in your journal. We always say the last page makes it easy to locate easily. So you can see I'm on page 60 for mine. Perhaps you go week to week to week in your weekly scratch pad, sticky notes, quotes page. Um, Carolina, I also use a roll of tape to trace my circle. So I keep a roll of tape here on my desk. If you feel like you need a shape. I was saying the other night, I don't know why my brain is like this. So I invite you to find a space in your journal because we are going to be doing week number 1's dig into vitality. And this week, we are looking at emotional vitality. And the question that we are responding to is, how do you recharge emotionally after a draining day? What practices help you feel more balanced? And I'll go back through these slides while you work on this. So then I got me to thinking, I think it's really important that we have an awareness of where we are in our self-care journey and how we're feeling before we can really answer that question because we need different things on different days. So I'm going to invite you to look through these and then maybe go select the heart that fits to you and drop that in the chat. How is your self-care right now? A purple heart means great, all my needs are being met. A blue heart means pretty good, but I could use some time to recharge a bit. A green heart is things are okay, but I'll need to make some time for self-care soon. Just kind of checking in with yourself. Yellow heart, I'm feeling really stressed out and in need of me time. And finally, the orange heart, I'm really struggling to take care of my needs and be kind to myself. So let's check in with ourselves before we dig into writing in our journal. And I see some hearts being popped in the chat right now. So thank you for doing that and participating in this. Yeah, kind of, sometimes it's hard to put ourselves first, those orange hearts and those yellow hearts. We really need to make sure that we've got a good pulse on where we are. And it's going to vary from day to day and what life brings you. So my whole point of this is like sometimes self-care is maybe just doing a face mask, right? Just this very simple action. And if you are in a purple heart mode, that little self-care mask, that little time set aside is probably perfect. But if you're really struggling to take care of your needs and being kind to yourself, that face mask might not be the answer that you need. You might really need to take a moment to carve out some very intentional time to feed your soul in the best way you can. So I think that's a real important check in as we dig into our emotional vitality. So I want you to think about, how do you honor your energy in ways that work for you? It's going to be different, but I will encourage you to share that. in the chat because we're all there. And like Carla just put, I spend too much time on my phone. Yeah, I dadgummit picked up my phone when I laid down last night, and I shouldn't have done that. Because blank 40 minutes has passed, right? That could have been 40 minutes of sleep and wellness to my calendar. And then, how do you recognize that those small moments of care and attention can spark big shifts in how we feel? And so this is a real old slide I got from Instagram, from our Silk and Sonder Instagram page, which is gold. And it was 17 little things, little micro things you can do to kind of reset. So as we think about all of this, keep dropping those colored hearts in the chat, and then start thinking about those draining days and how what practices help you feel more balanced. I started my list, but it's little things, the more you think about it, the more aware, especially as you've gotten in tune with yourself, the more aware you become of things that give you that reset. And I always talk about my hot shower, but one of the things I started doing on stressful days is adding low lighting, right? Like, so maybe I light a candle or two and turn off that bright overhead light. It makes a shift in that. I give myself permission for mindless scrolling. Sometimes that's just my little self-care, like just leave me alone. I want to catch up. Yoga, breath work, resetting the kitchen so that tomorrow's Jennifer walks into this freshness. That's really good mindset shift for me. And then completing a quick task that brings calm to the chaos. So maybe just something small, like I'm going to clean this one space. I'm going to declutter the top of my desk. That's some of the stuff that came up for me, but the more I thought about it, the bigger the list gets. And that's a good thing to put into your weekly setup, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I'm going to stop talking and give you some time to set this up and work on it. And thank you. I see you're sharing. So keep sharing like the things that are coming up for you. Thank you for diving into this week's prompt together. And you guys shared some amazing stuff in the chat about what helps you do that resetting, that rest. And then I started thinking because it's going to be different for all of us, but also some days I could have polar opposites of what helps me at the end of a stressful day. Like I was just thinking about, like, I love to declutter a space, and let's just say my desk, and I get everything organized. Like if you could see it right now, you would just die because it's a mess. Um, but sometimes it's better for me to leave the mess and then lean into something else that feel right, so kind of like it doesn't always work all the time, like to declutter that space. Like I was sewing yesterday, and that was, I made more of a mess, but yet it calmed my soul, if that makes sense. So there's all these dualities, but I appreciate what you put in the chat. And if you were busy writing and didn't get a chance to look at the chat while I'm talking to you, maybe go through, because there are some really great suggestions and some ways for us to kind of nurture our vitality. So good work, my friends. Let's look at our rosebud thorn reflection now, which is on page 30. I like to look at this as a lesson in gratitude for the previous week. That let's just, I'm going to start with the thorn, and those are those things that are really hard, those challenges that came your way. You may have some control over them, you may not have some control over them. And so those thorns are the hard, just the yucky part of last week, like something, and they may be silly to you, maybe like I'm kind of silly, feel silly putting this on there. But if it caused you a challenge, then it was a thorn. Now there are thorns that are temporary, but then we also know that plenty of thorns just hang out, illnesses, finances, getting on some health journey, or maybe you're just a caregiver and that's your day to day, and it's hard. It's a thorn. Mine was not a terrible thorn. I have shared this before. I'm trying to get back on track with better nutrition, and I'm not doing it. And so, I end up mindless. I'm not planning, so then I'm eating mindlessly, and that was a thorn because then I notice it everywhere else in my life. The bud, that bud is the thing that you're looking forward to. What is coming your way? A bud can be as simple as today's a new day, or this is a new week. Y'all know I've been talking about my husband's health, and we have his first knee replacement tomorrow morning, and I am so excited for that and what it's going to mean for him and his vitality. And so that is a bud. It's probably next week going to be my rosebud and thorn, right? As I'm going through the week with him. And then my rose was lots of time with y'all. I had the schedule, I've taken off time so that I can take care of my husband this week. So I had a lot of events this past few days, and I just got to hang out with like the greatest community. So that was my rose for last week. I'm going to put on some music while you work on yours. Please share in the chat. Let us celebrate and be excited for those good things, and let us just kind of like all be together while we're dealing with the thorns of our life. Y'all see why my rose is just hanging out with you? Um, I love the compassion and the support that is in the chat. Thank you for sharing as you were comfortable and for the things that are unspoken that you're sitting with on paper. You've got your community. We're here for you. So thanks everybody for your kind words to one another and that support. We love each other in Sonder Club. Okay, let's get on with our weekly setup. But right before we do that, I want you to go take a quick peek at your page 8 at your stop, start, and continue. If you did this page, as well as peruse your intentions very quickly. What were those intentions that you wanted to have set up for the month? Yes, it is, Maggie. Thank you, thank you. And you can see we've got an example of taking the idea of those intentions and incorporating it into your weekly setup. And I did this because I was so bad about working on these two spaces, not bad about working on these two spaces. I was bad about taking the information from these two spaces and informing my weekly setups with this, right? Like so I would do it, close my journal, and then the week was new and I but for whatever reason, what is on these spaces is kind of the direction you said you wanted to go in this month. So I want you just to peruse those two spaces before we jump into the week, and maybe you can take a hint from Maggie and have a space dedicated somewhere, maybe the weekly spread where you're just leaning into one or two of your intentions. So that then at the end of the month, you're like, I did the thing that I said I wanted to do. So yeah, take a quick peek at that while we are digging into pages 32 and 33. And I have my week here, and I always tell you, I'm just a black pen on paper girl. I don't do stickers, I don't do washi tape. But I wanted to feel vitality this week. I'm just embracing our theme. My three focal points. I didn't do goals. I'm doing my focal points where my focus will be, and it is caring for my husband. Still keeping my creativity front and center. I'm trying to do something every single day, and I actually am recording it on the monthly calendar that's at the front of our journal, whatever activity I worked on. And then cultivating my garden. And I said the word cultivating because I realized I was going in a C direction with those three words. My to-do list is usually a to-do list, but instead of that this week, one of my habits and activities is ready for tomorrow. So every day I want to be ready for the next day. I do my kitchen reset. I've got, the tasks for the day done. I've done my meal planning because I really want to be able to focus on my husband's recovery. And so I want to be ready. And it's the lack of planning that throws me off when I don't have that rhythm and routine. So in my to-do box, I have my ready for tomorrow, the things I want to make sure that I do. And then I've tried to really lean into vitality through fun things. So I don't have habits here. I have activities for the week that will help me support my vitality. So very simple setup. So that's my page. And here are some wonderful examples for you to just kind of look at it how, we all have these same pages, but they can look different. It's about taking what you need for the week. I want to feel you see the more and less duality consideration there. The one on the right, you notice that their three goals were social, home, and me. And then how are we going to do that? That directly informed their to-do list. So let's talk about how we want to feel this week. I would love to know the words that are coming forth for you. These could be lots of words, a quote, a mantra, whatever, whatever's speaking to you. Please drop that in the chat because your word may inspire someone else's, outlook for the week, and they may find that that's the word they want. You may be using your word of the year and bringing that forward. So it's really about taking what you need. I'm seeing lots of great words, so keep those coming. And then we're going to jump into those weekly major three goals. And remember, we have the idea of the SMART goal of setting very specific, measurable. They are attainable, they're relevant, and they're kind of tied into a time deadline, a time frame. We want to make those goals be SMART goals. Here's just, some examples from y'all of how folks have set up their goals. There's their feelings for the week, and then they've written their goals in. I'll go through these slides again while you're setting up this page. I like the three major goals with, there's a little daily check off because that was what they wanted to do, was to track that goal every single day there. A quote written around those goals, kind of your why you're going to do what you're doing. And then here's some examples of, again, putting those goals in there, but informing the to-dos. And I really like the three things I'm proud of, the spaces left blank, a little bit of a reflection, because really leaning into that, being proud of self for a goal. I'm going to keep going. There's some repurposing ideas. That the little good morning routine, I did a couple of weeks of morning and midday check-in in this space instead of having goals, and then I did my evening routine over in the shopping list because I had gotten out of a good rhythm and routine, and I thrive when I have a rhythm to the day, and just not working outside the home sort of took that away from me. So I have to really embrace it from time to time and be intentional. And that's the way I use this space. There's our to-dos. Here's a little March calendar from another year, but just that little calendar that's up there in the corner. There is a little typo if you noticed it this month. That can be your little Easter egg to look for. But just the idea of using that little calendar from week to week about, circling days or drawing your attention to special days, just kind of seeing that intention on paper helps. There's a ton of different ways to set up your to-do list. Here's some great examples of that. Of course, we always shout out to the Eisenhower matrix. Um, and I have done this because I have a lot of little projects and things bouncing around in my head. And using this helped me prioritize some of the stuff I want to do. Most of it was just like my hobbies, but I do have some things that are timed to a time frame. And so I popped them all into an Eisenhower matrix on a post-it note and stuck it in my journal so that it'll help me prioritize. Again, some more ideas, a to-do list, a to-be list. Maybe a little bingo goes here, or maybe you're thinking about the stop, start, and continue box. What did you say you wanted to stop? Maybe you make a to don't list that ties into that. And then let's take a look at those habits and activities that are down on the bottom of your page. Please remember that habits take a while to get hardwired into your brain. So easy habits can take like 3 weeks or so, 21 days, right? So you should be seeing something new repeat in your journal. And it might be on your habit tracker for the month. It might be in the habit and activity tracker for the week, or it might be in both places. But you shouldn't have new habits every week. On average, it takes about 2 months. So about 60 days for something to really be hardwired, and then you don't have to track it. It's just part of your rhythm and routine. But some habits can take up to 8 months, especially if they're very big shifts in your lifestyle. So give yourself that reminder that you should kind of be seeing those same habits on these trackers. Now, I mentioned earlier this week, my habit tracker, the majority of the things here are really activities. So my habits I left in my habit tracker wheel for those daily things I want to do, but I have more activities this week. But you can have the same thing in both of these spaces if that helps reinforce the things that you're trying to do. So there's that difference and those considerations for those two trackers. Remember to break those big habits down into small steps. James Clear is, the author of Atomic Habits. I actually have it on my bookshelf. No, actually, that's wrong. I moved it into my bedside table because I've been taking other looks at it. But he says, don't underestimate the power of those smaller steps to get to a big habit. And, here's some great examples of those smaller steps that will get you there. And like, maybe you want to walk every day. He says, don't put walk every day as a habit. Put um, pick up my tennis shoes as your habit because, take your tennis shoes to work with you or whatever that first little step that will make that happen. So just that reminder of the keep it small so that you are successful. I was tracking I'm trying to hit 100 grams of protein every day. I was tracking it. I put it on my habit tracker last month, the big round one. And when I looked at it, I only did it like 3 days. And so that's the wrong habit for me. I need to break that down into something different. So this month I am tracking like my morning meal protein, just that to get back on track with that because I'm struggling with my nutrition stuff. So I bit off too much. So I'm kind of breaking it down this month to be a little more cognizant of what I'm doing. Here's some examples from our Sonder family. I love the idea of the one on the bottom, those circling those days that you want this to happen if there's specific days. I did not set a goal for my habits and activities this week. I just have them down. I hope to do them every 7 days, but it's not a number. It's not tied to a number. It's tied more to just my happiness. And so hopefully I'll get it, but you could do a range like the one you see over there on the right. And then some more examples, it doesn't have to, it can be just check off like the fruits and veggies, eating the rainbow. And this particular slide actually inspired my mind body health space because I want to eat the rainbow this week. And so, but I got the inspiration from that. That's an oldie, but I brought it back. You can see the two examples in the bottom are tracking 3 things. So you don't have to fill out all the lines either. Maya always says, no one's coming to grade this. This is about collecting data and holding yourself accountable. And then there's a bunch of habits and activity inspiration. So let's work on this page. I will go back to the beginning of the examples I showed you, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the second page. right. Great work on that first page. You might be finishing up your setup. And speaking to the idea of those small habits, also, if there's something you do every day without fail, like it is a firm habit, maybe a new habit can be paired with that one so that you'll be more likely to do that new thing because it is now paired with the thing that you're already doing. So think about those things that you're, like if you always pour a cup of coffee, maybe that also ties in with pour a cup of coffee, make my bed, right? Like, if making your bed is something new you want to make sure you're doing every day. So think about the things that you're already doing and then tying that into that. That's called habit stacking, again, from James Clear. And it's a good way to kind of encourage that new thing to happen. So we're going to go over all the spaces on our next page, as Katie calls it, our B side. And we're going to take a look at a ton of, examples from y'all. And I'm doing a little something different this week. So here's a bunch of repurpose ideas. You've seen this list before. It's not all exhaustive, but you might want to snap a picture because I think this page gets repurposed a lot. Some of the spaces get repurposed a lot. And you might change one space up every single week depending on what the week is bringing you. So like, maybe you are pet sitting. So one of these becomes a pet task tracker for the week. Or perhaps you're going to hone in on your morning routine or your bedtime routine, or you're going to track your Wordle wins. So these can be repurposed, right? And I'm going to show you a ton of ideas for this. So let's just look at pages completely filled out. You can see that the meal plan on these have both changed. There's a priorities list as well as a my week at a glance list. The mind body health plan looks a little bit different. One is more of a reflection. What did I do for myself today? The one on the right, whereas the one on the left has some little check marks to make sure that these particular things are happening every day. They've both taken the shopping list in the direction of a bingo board, which we love. And there's a mantra in the I am loving box for the one on the left. But the one on the right is, again, a little self-reflection about what they are loving. Here are a couple more examples. The meal plan has been turned into what I did well. This is an oldie because you can see our breakfast, lunch, and dinner is on there. Listen, I don't get rid of any of the examples I collect along the way. We have affirmations being used in the meal plan on the example of the right. And then how did I fill my cup is where the mind body health is for the example on the left. But look on the right, plant care. And that might be something that speaks to you right now because we are looking at spring. Are you doing some gardening prep? And then we've got, I love that the shopping list on the right is intentions, right? So maybe go back and look at your intentions, and perhaps that can be worked in there. Some more examples. You're seeing some bingos. The meal tracker or the meal plan is actually being used as a meal tracker for the example on the left. The one on the right is actually my example for this week, or my setup for this week. I've repurposed my meal plan into spring cleaning, but that could go in any of these. And I'll show you a graphic where I was inspired for the spring cleaning. You might want to get your cameras ready. I've got lots of examples to show you. And then, of course, it is garden time for me. I'm a big gardener, and so my shopping list is now my little garden bingo board, all my to-dos, but in a fun way. And I mentioned that eating the rainbow idea. So I do all the individual types of fruits and veggies I eat through a week and just write it down. So if I have strawberries goes on there. I don't track it. Okay, that was one I had. I may have them every day, but I've written it one time. Y'all, when I started doing this, I went from like 9 different kinds of fruits and vegetables to like 21 because it just made me more aware of how I was fueling my body. So that's my example this week. Now, let me show you some ways you can set any of these spaces up. Any of these things might speak to you. So again, grab some screenshots if something is talking to you. So there's that fun way of setting up your day with alliteration. We've got a lot of fun things to celebrate this week. This is actually Dr. Seuss Day. How about that? That's kind of fun. Also, Soup It Forward Day is today, and that's when you make soup, but you share. You take it to you take some of it to the neighbor or a friend. I love that. So this might be a fun way to embrace each one of your days. Maybe you put this in your mind body health plan. Maybe you put this in your shopping list. We have daylight savings at the end of the week. We're going to actually spring ahead early Sunday morning. So you might want to grab a screenshot of this. This is just some tips to make daylight saving time a little bit gentler, because losing that hour can be a little tough, but oh, that extra light at the end of the day is so good for our soul. I'll go back and forth between all of these. This is actually a workplace challenge, but there's a lot of good things in here to do just for yourself or the team of your family. So you might be inspired here. Maybe take some of these fun days into your workplace. And then a self-esteem journal is a great thing to plug in here. There's some daily habits that will change your life, a little 1 to 10 idea. Um, and then there's my spring cleaning challenge. I'm going to be doing that this month, pulling something from, just doing what it says every day and writing that in my meal plan. Perhaps you are in the mood for a little fun and frivolity, from being frolicky. I don't know where my words are going, but maybe a photo a day. And so you're going to just capture something every day. Frivolity. There it is. Thank you. Just to bring a little fun and spark into your day, create your very own photo challenge and just, look and notice. There is a couple of ways of framing out books if you are a big reader. So perhaps you create a little bingo to pulling some of these book things. And there's some spring self-care, which ties back into our mind map of this week, or ways to fill your own cup. Having a week of gratitude in one of these spots, you just sort of do this little reflection, and I'll go through these. So these are just some weekly setup pages. So let's put on some music while you do this page, and I'll go back through all these slides while you're working and share what you're going to do. You know what we say about our Sonder time is different time, right? I want to thank you for spending the very first part of this new week with Katie and me this morning. I'll scroll through these weekly setups as we close out our time together. Maybe one of these images will speak to you. Katie's going to be dropping a lot of links in the chat. So this has been recorded. You'll be able to access it as well as a ton, like 800, 900 other socials. So be sure that you are saving that as a bookmark so that you can go back to watch any socials at any time. And I hope that you were inspired to maybe find some great ways to embrace vitality this week. We sure did enjoy, again, starting a week with the best people we know, our Sonder family. Have a good one, and we will see you soon.
I just wanna climb to the top of a mountain, standing tall when I'm howling. 'Cause today's gonna be my day, it's gonna be my day. Good night stress, see you in the morning. I don't gotta guess, you're always there for me. Sowing them seeds of doubt, I think you like seeing me freak out. Good night stress, see you in the morning. So I wake up, I get out of bed, stay up, stay out of my head 'cause it's dangerous, and I don't wanna lose my mind.